Hello friends, I hope everybody's doing well today. Today I'm going to be doing a little more work on the 1973 Gravely C8 here. And in previous videos throughout the series, I'm sure you heard me complain about the reverse forward lever being the opposite way. I'm never going to get used to that because for 53 years, like I said in previous videos, I've been operating the tractor without having this system here. It's a good system. It has a lock, so you can't lock it in reverse and everything like that, but I'm not worried about that with this because I'm keeping this one. If I wasn't keeping this one, I would just leave it alone. I wouldn't have to get used to it. It wouldn't matter. Okay, so what I did was, after moving a whole bunch of stuff in the storage here, I found a set of handles like all my other ones have here. And the first thing I did was I sprayed everything up with WD-40 real good, and I took the nut and the lock nut off this rod and this rod here because it has to slide into the linkage lever, which I'll show you in a bit. And while I was at it, I sprayed this up and I undid these lock nuts because they were tight together, and this way I can make my adjustments on the tractor without going crazy trying to loosen the one nut apart from the other nut there. And I was glad I thought of it because when I put the engine back together, you see how this lever, reverse forward lever, slides through this bracket here? Well, with the system I'm putting on, what you need to have is this bracket here. So I remembered to put this bracket on after I assembled it, after I put the engine back on it, so I don't have to worry about that, because that would be a little bit of a pain to change out otherwise. So far what I've done is I just sprayed these up a little bit. I was able to get these loose here because I had to make adjustments when I first got the tractor. And what I'm going to do now is, luckily I thought I was going to have to drill another hole to accommodate the handles we're putting on, but this bolt hole here is about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch off, which doesn't matter because you have all this adjustment on the rod here to accommodate that little bit of distance that we have to go. So I'm going to get set up, and also I bought a brand new belt for it because it needed the belt. Somebody put a 1/2 inch. I mean, it's supposed to have supposed to have a 31-inch belt, and it's a 1/2 inch. I don't know. I guess you would say the width of the belt, the thickness of the belt is a 1/2 inch. Somebody threw a 3/8 belt on it, which it worked for a while. But the belt is cracked so bad it's ready to break off. So what we're going to do today is I already changed out the spark plug because it had the wrong spark plug in it. Somebody threw a lawnmower plug in it, a J19LM, which is the wrong plug. So I bought an NGK plug for it because I was down to Tractor Supply, and that's about all they have down there is NGK, which I like NGK. They're fine. So I put a new plug in it, and also the spark plug boot was missing, but I took it off of Briggs & Stratton Magneto. I mean, it's better than nothing, but it doesn't fit that great. Now I have to see if I have another boot to accommodate this. So we're going to get started. I think the first thing I'm going to do is change the handles out. Okay, so I took the nuts to go at the end of the lever here, which goes, the rod goes through the lever, and I already took off the nut and the lock nut on the one, on the high gear, and I took the nut, the lock nut and the nut off the high-low. I'm going to now take off the handles here, and like I said, we're going to be using this bolt hole here, and I'm going to work backwards from what I'm used to so you guys can watch too. I know this isn't like a big deal video, but I know some of you, no matter what I do on these, like to watch. So I figured I'd make the video. I wasn't going to make the video on this, but I figured I would. It gives you guys something to watch. I like to watch this stuff. And plus, after this, I want to start it up and let it run and make sure we don't have that engine binding problem. It's been okay so far. I didn't start it today or anything like that, but it's been okay so far. So now what I'll do is I'll get this bolt out here that holds the handle on. And since we took those nuts out, I can just slide this right out. And we're done with that. Okay, so now we'll take off the high-low, the high-low. I mean, no, it's reverse forward. We'll take that lever off now. You know, I'll keep these levers if anybody ever needs them, or if I use them on something else that I'm going to be selling. So I'll keep these around. Okay, so now we can slide this rod out. Oh, we got a problem here. That bracket that I showed you, the guide bracket, it's not going to pass through the I wonder if I lost something. I just had a spring in it or something. Alright, I gotta get the other two nuts off. And I'll be back to you. Okay, so I took the long nut and bolt out here that holds the two handles together. So what we're going to do is we're going to fish this handle rod in first. And what we're going to do is go between the tank and the handle here and line it up with the with the lever that comes out of the transmission. So we got that lined up. We just leave that laid there like that. Now we'll take this lever here and pass it through, pass the rod through the lever that's coming out of the forward reverse. And this has to be facing down. And then it's laying on that bracket that I told you that I thought to put on there, because you need that bracket for when you lock it into forward gear. And then I'll take our spacer, which is in my hand here. I will stick the spacer in here. Little tricky, but you get it sooner or later. You got it. And then I'm going to have to adjust the, now that the distance is a little different, I'm definitely going to have to adjust make all the adjustments for low gear, high gear, all that. And plus we have to put the two nuts on that I took off so we can slide the levers out and slide them back in. So we could tighten this up now. that's cool. That's good. Just gonna spray everything up here a little bit. Okay, I'm going to put all the nuts back on the rods, and then I'll be right back to you. Okay, so after doing a lot of wrenching here, I got the high-low adjusted properly here. And you can see the mark here. I had to go a long way, and I could only use an open-end wrench to turn this nut here. Over here, I was able to use the open-end wrench, and then I could tighten it up with a socket. So that's done. And now the only problem I ran into here, I have forward gear set right, but I'm going to have to reset all that. Reason being that I adjusted this nut here for forward, and now the problem is this, that there's not enough rod here to put the lock nut on. So what I'm going to have to do now is, I have pressure on this right now. So where this, there's a bolt right here that clamps onto the shaft that goes through the transmission. So if I loosen this up, I want this lever to move back here to give me the more thread on the rod, if you could understand that. And then once I do that, I could tighten this up, and then I could adjust the what do you call it, what was I saying? Yeah, the forward gear. I could adjust that to where it needs to be, and after I adjust this nut to where it needs to be, I'll have enough thread here to put the lock nut on. I hope you could understand it, because I barely could. I'll be right back. Okay, so by loosening this lock bolt here, right, from the lever that goes over the shaft here, that goes inside the transmission, I was able to move this lever back while the shaft was still, move it back, and then it gave me enough room to adjust the clutch, and I was able to put the lock nut back on. So that's how you do that. Okay, so now I'm going to get set up where I put the fan belt on, and then that'll be it. I'll start it up, I'll let it run, we'll see how it starts up first, then I'll shut the camera off and let it run for about 20 minutes, a half hour, and we'll see if we have any engine binding going on anymore. I just wanted to point out one more thing before we get to doing the fan belt. Sometimes I get these tractors, and the main lever, not the shift lever, will be bent a certain way, and it'll keep popping out of forward gear or high gear. And what I do for that, to remedy that, see how far out this rod comes out here? Sometimes I just cut a piece off the rod, and once I cut that piece off, this shift lever will come down further and it'll stay locked, it won't come out. I just wanted to point that out. I've been meaning to point that out for a long time now. Okay, here we go. Okay, so you have two starter bolts, and then you have this notch in this bracket here, and that's your chain adjustment. So you're going to want to loosen the starter and pop the chain off for the first thing. That's what you want to do there. I'm using a 9/16 socket and a 9/16 wrench to do this. I got the tractor tilted up so you guys can watch me do it. But sometimes it's easier if the tractor's level to put the chain back on and everything like that. And we'll see how hard it is to do. Okay, so we're going to go over to the other side here. And we're going to loosen the governor, because that's the belt tensioner on this. This is how you adjust the belt tension on this one. And I'll point out the ones without governors, what I had to go through, because I don't have a special wrench for that, but we'll get to that when I get to that part. we don't have to bother with that with this one though. Okay, so I got a 3/4 inch socket here to loosen this nut on the governor bracket. And now just below, I'm using a 1/2 inch wrench. There's a bolt that's holding the other portion of the governor bracket. So we're going to loosen that. Oh, sorry about that. Sometimes I have to situate the camera where it's right on top of me here, so I can have it so you guys can see too. Just gotta give it a little wiggle here. And I'll probably have to jump this belt off the pulley here. I could actually just cut this belt off because the belt's no good anymore. I wanted to show you how badly it was cut in one spot here, but I just gotta get a wrench to put on here. I'll get a adjustable wrench. See if I can jump that off. See if I can jump it off without catching my fingers in there. Okay, we got that off. Now, because of this starter clutch, if you get one with a pull start, a lot of times when you want to jump the belt on, always put it on the smaller pulley first and jump it onto the bigger pulley. Makes a great deal of difference. Now I'm hoping I can weasel this belt in here without any problems. Because I'm noticing this support bracket on this side's a little bent out here. I don't know if I'm gonna have to undo this support bracket here, but we'll soon find out. I just want to be able to wiggle this thing in here, get in between the starter pulley and I'll try to push it in without damaging the belt. I don't know if I'm going to be able to without taking that bracket off. Alright, I'm going to undo this bracket over here and I'll be back to you. Okay, so I guess to compensate the wrong belt that somebody put on there, there's no way I could jump this belt on here. So what I had to do is I had to take the lock nut off this pulley here, and now I'm taking this pulley off. And then there's a real big nut where you need like that thin special wrench that I don't have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pulley off, and then I'm going to loosen that big nut. And I'm just going to put it around to where I think I could get the belt back on, because I could use the governor here to adjust the belt tension, but I don't want to make this thing so the belt's too loose. So once again, I'll get back to you. This is hard to film, so I'll just let you know bit by bit. And this is the big nut right here I have to loosen, and then I have to pull this whole assembly down a little bit to be able to get this belt back on the pulley. So okay, I'll be back to you soon. If anything, you missed out on a lot of cursing, which I'm glad for that. But the problem was, even though I was using this big giant wrench here, I was having a problem. The starter drive was sticking out here, the gear. So I had to drop the starter out of it, but I was able to loosen that. And I put it all the way down to the bottom adjustment here, so you had more room to get the belt on. And even then I had a hard time getting the belt on. These are the belts I use all the time, but when I go to tighten up the governor here, I'm just going to put a little tension on there. But these belts usually loosen up after a little while when they're brand new, so I just adjust it as I have to adjust it. But man, was that a problem. But I'm going to level the tractor out now, and I'm going to stick this bracket back on where it belongs, because I was having trouble getting the belt on because of this bracket here. Because don't forget, we were using a wider belt, they calls for this. And I'm going to go ahead and start putting the rest of it together now. Okay, so the fan belt situation is taken care of. I got it back together. And like I said, I'll ride it around some and probably cut the grass with it again. Just check the belt tension after the belt loosens up. I have the clutches are all adjusted as the way I like them. And reverse where I like it, and forward gears where I like it. So that's cool. I had it running for about 20 minutes, and there's no binding or stalling or anything like that. You know, it does lug a little bit in low gear, but I'm just gonna keep running it, see if it loosens up. I don't know what else to do with it. And it only does it in low gear. I mean, high gear is fine. And then when you go to put it in low gear, and you drop the idle some, it seems like it wants to stall, but it's nothing like before, you know? It still revs up in low gear and everything. So far it's okay. Then I have to do something with the hood. It has some kind of rod that goes through the hood to hold on the front part. So I have to figure something out for that. And shut it off. I have to figure out something out for the hood. You know, it's supposed to have this pin coming through here. The pin comes through here and here, and sticks out here. I don't know how these things work. I don't know. I don't know if I have one of these battery hold downs that have a pin in it, or I'll get some threaded. I don't know. I'll figure something out for it. I'll probably make a video on that, because that's all new to me. I always use the sloped hoods, you know. Even the 69, you know, the picture that's on my stickers, even that, I put the sloped hood on it. So this is the hood over here for it that belongs on it. So I'm going to at least, I'm probably going to just sand the paint all the way down to bare metal and prime it. And I think the hood's supposed to be white, but I don't like white, and I'm keeping it for myself. So I'll probably paint it that Rust-Oleum orange. But when we get to that, I'll make a video on that also. And thanks for watching. And this is coming along okay. You know, I got the fuel filter on, changed the oil, put a new oil filter on it, new belt. We did the thing with the shift levers, so I'm very happy about that. It was just a matter of time before I ran myself over with it. I know that already. I'm not used to that configuration the way it was. So the battery's in pretty bad shape, so I'll probably have to go get a brand new battery for it. I keep charging it up even with the big charger here, but it's not holding a charge good. It's old. That battery's out of my work truck over there, so I don't know how many years that's been around. And thanks for watching. I'll see you all on the next one.